End of the Vietnam War, April 30, 1975. The Vietnam War was a conflict that took place between 1955 and 1975. The war occurred between North Vietnam Vietnamese People's Army and the Republic of South Vietnam, supported by the United States. South Vietnam was trying to maintain its independence under the pressure of the communists. The causes of the Vietnam War included ideological conflict during the Cold War era, the reunification of Vietnam, Vietnam's independence from French colonial rule, and the communist threat. Following the Vietnam War, there was a 20-year superpower confrontation. The war intensified in 1965 with increased military intervention by the United States. The United States sent troops to halt North Vietnam's attacks and to support South Vietnam. The Vietnam War was largely characterized by guerrilla warfare and conflicts in jungle areas. During the war, the U.S. and South Vietnamese Army suffered casualties and conducted various operations to secure control of strategic locations. A major North Vietnamese offensive known as the 1968 Tet Offensive had a negative impact on public opinion in America against the war. The Vietnam War led to large-scale protests among both Western and Eastern Bloc countries. The U.S. initiated peace negotiations to end the war and withdrawal. However, in 1973, the Paris Peace Accords were signed and U.S. forces withdrew. However, North Vietnam continued the war by violating the peace agreement. In the final stage of the Vietnam War, North Vietnam launched a major offensive to take over South Vietnam. On April 30, 1975, North Vietnamese forces captured the city of Saigon, leading to the end of the war. The capital of North Vietnam, Hanoi, became the capital of the reunified Vietnam. The fall of South Vietnam after the Vietnam War marked the emergence of a unified Vietnam under communist rule. The war resulted in an estimated total of 2 to 3 million lives lost. This includes both military personnel and civilian casualties. The Vietnam War deeply affected the internal politics and social structure of the United States. The end of the war increased criticism of U.S. involvement and led to a loss of public trust. Following the end of the Vietnam War, there have been many reassessments of perceptions about Vietnam. The war was a historically significant event for Vietnam and has been the subject of many works. The end of the Vietnam War is considered a turning point in the Cold War era. The war tarnished the perception of the United States as a superpower and increased the power of communist regimes. The Vietnam War had profound effects on international relations and military strategies for many countries. The end of the Vietnam War brought significant challenges related to the reunification of North and South Vietnam. Vietnam faced challenges of post-war economic and social reconstruction. Vietnam also faced environmental challenges due to the effects of toxic chemicals that spread throughout its lands during the war. The Vietnam War remains a controversial topic to this day, and the effects of the war have been felt for a long time. The effects of the war continue to be felt in Vietnamese society and the lives of its people. The Vietnam War has also been described as a humanitarian tragedy due to civilian casualties and the creation of refugees. The war has also sparked debates about war crimes and human rights violations. The Vietnam War had an impact on both military strategies and the future of warfare rules. The war increasingly drew media attention and received significant coverage in the news. This increased the war's impact on public opinion and strengthened civil society's anti-war movements. Soldiers who participated in the Vietnam War also carried psychological and emotional scars long after the war. The war inflicted deep wounds on the lives of the Vietnamese people and created long-standing traumas in society. The Vietnam War is considered one of the longest and most devastating wars in world history. The war led to significant changes in military, political, and social aspects. The Vietnam War has been a traumatic experience for many segments of society and has forever impacted the lives of people. As a result of this event, countless stories, memoirs, and literary works have emerged. The Vietnam War symbolizes a period in which anti-war movements grew in strength and global policies were reshaped. The end of the Vietnam War marked a significant turning point on the world political stage. The end of the Vietnam War not only signified the end of a country's struggle for independence, but also had profound effects on international relations and politics.